Welcome back to this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host Melek, and let's just jump straight into it. We are still looking into going into next year. Obviously, season starts in October, and just some things that we need to really look out for, and that the Grizzlies need to look out for if they want to be more successful than last season, being a first round exit and dropping all the way from second to the eighth seed. So one of the things is the players that the Grizzlies are going to have to face. And I say going to have to face because these are players that are in the division that are probably guaranteed to give the Grizzlies some trouble. One being one being Kevin Durant, obviously. That goes without saying. It's Kevin Durant. One being Kevin Durant, another being Alfred Sengun, definitely being a guy that tandem right there is subject to give them true problems. Obviously, you got Amen Thompson as well. So, definitely three players that I think will give the Grizzlies some trouble or could give the Grizzlies some trouble. Not much to say. I mean, Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. He's one of the greatest scorers, if not the greatest scorer of all time. So you got to worry about him and his game and who exactly is going to defend him. It more likely will be Jalen Wells or Jaren Jackson, but even then, Kevin Durant's still going to find a way to get his shots off. So, got to worry how to work around that. Shingun more so is just worrying about one thing about Shingun that the Grizzlies will have to worry about is him beating them off the dribble from the post, which was something that he really excelled in last year. Then you have to also look from the aspect of his playmaking. Shingun is a very good playmaker for someone in his position, so have to worry about the open looks, the backdoor cuts, everything like that. And that's something that also killed the Grizzlies last year, letting open cuts happen. They didn't really get into many passing lanes last year, so that's something that Grizzlies definitely have to jump on right there. When it comes to the Mavericks, Cooper Flag is one, but I'm not going to say Cooper Flag because, I mean, we haven't really seen much of him outside of Summer League, so I'm not going to jump into that whole hype train right there. When it comes to Dallas, Anthony Davis, I don't even think I need to say more about Anthony Davis. He can do everything that you want him to on the court. I mean, in the playing game, when the Grizzlies were blowing out the Mavericks, AD almost let it come back and had 40 through three quarters. So definitely have to worry about him. As far as the Mavericks go, don't necessarily think they're like that big to worry about. I mean, it's still a rebuild year for them. Obviously, with Kyrie being hurt and having the first overall pick. When it comes to other teams, though, the Spurs, we've already touched on the Spurs. Wemby, Castle, potentially Dylan Harper, players like that. Definitely going to have to be something to worry about. De'Aaron Fox, of course. Pelicans, the usual people, Zion, Trey Murphy, and now Jordan Poole. Other than that, that's it on that. Um, I think that's. Am I forgetting the team? I said the Rockets, Spurs, Mavericks. Yeah, we've touched on every team in that division. So yeah, those are the players that I think absolutely will give the Grizzlies some trouble. Now for the teams that could give the Grizzlies some trouble, uh, the Rockets, of course, because they won the division last year and they're projected to win the division again this year. Spurs, I think, will catch a lot of people off guard. I feel like they had the possibility of being a playoff team. Not granted, new coaching, but they had been dealing with a new coach basically all of last season. So definitely something to look into. Um, they have a good potential to really stand out next year. That's as far as the division. Obviously, with teams, you got to worry about OKC, the Lakers, of course. Even though I think the Grizzlies can outmatch the Lakers despite having Luka and LeBron, I think when it comes to every other position, I think the Grizzlies can stand out, even with having DeAndre Ayton. I think Zach Edey's better than DeAndre Ayton. So there's a strong possibility. It's just a matter of what the others can do off the bench, because that usually is the downfall of the Grizzlies when it comes to playing a team like the Lakers. The bench never really shows up, or they never really come out as strong as they need to. Um, Timberwolves, of course, I think they're going to be a strong team again. Warriors, they're going to be a strong team, but not as strong as people think. Um, as far as West Conference, I think that's really it. The Clippers, of course, the team to watch out for. I don't think they're going to be like a contending team, but they're definitely a team that's worth watching out for. Other than that, I can't really think of any other team that just really frightens me. And these are teams that I think get in the way of the Grizzlies getting up higher in the standings. That's why I say teams that could get the Grizzlies trouble, because a lot of these teams that the Grizzlies face, they lost to last year, which is the reason why they fell so far down in the standings. So definitely something that, you have to look into, because if you don't, then we're going to get caught off guard where the Grizzlies just have a large downfall and we wonder what went wrong, and then we look back and we're like, we didn't beat the big teams. So definitely something that, the Grizzlies should be looking to do, especially going into next year. Now, something that I definitely want to bring to you all, and this has been said by sources, including ESPN. Basically, the Grizzlies are on the radar as a team that could make some moves, or at least a big move before the trade deadline. I have it pulled up right here, an article. Um, Now, obviously, there's been talk about Ja Morant being traded. The team has announced it, and it seems like ESPN is even starting to announce it, um, because it says right here Morant received one vote out of 25 in their question about the next superstar to request a trade. So, not necessarily saying that teams are going to stop making trades for Ja Morant, but John Moran is very unlikely to request a trade, which we've already known. But um, basically just going on record saying, Zach Kleiman has been a person that has kind of hinted that there are bigger moves along the way. He's never really gone more into detail about it, but he's definitely hinted that they're not done. And we've seen on record that the Grizzlies have tried to make some moves. They've tried to make some big moves, but teams don't know why it is. But the teams have a hard time trading with the Grizzlies. One team being the Brooklyn Nets, just a prime example. You look at the packages that some of these players get traded for, some of these trade targets, and you look at how the actual trade looks compared to the package that the Grizzlies offered, and you're wondering how this is even possible. So it's definitely something that Climate is hinted at, and I think one day it will pull off. They will pull off a deal that really makes some noise and makes the team a lot better. So in that little in the question that in the vote that they had, at least the panel at ESPN ranked the Grizzlies sixth behind the Warriors, Lakers, Cavs, Pelicans, and 76ers for teams likely to make a big move before the deadline. And this could apply to anything. I mean, there's still talks of, well, I'm not gonna say still talks, but there's still the run of the mill that hey, the Grizzlies could still potentially go after Denny Avdija, or the Grizzlies could make a big move for a better center, things of that nature. So it's definitely something that we could see the Grizzlies target, or they might try to get better and younger with the wing position specifically. I mean, who's to say that Kentavious Caldwell-Pope even lasts a full season with the Grizzlies? They might try to move him. You look at guys like Conchar, Clark, just players that are still on the roster that have a very uncertain future with the team. This doesn't mean that they're going to get moved or anything, but it definitely brings their future into question of, are they even going to be in the on the team for for the long run, especially come time for the playoffs. I mean, these are guys, we're talking about guys that really don't really get rotational minutes. Obviously, Brandon Clark gets rotational minutes, but we're looking at guys like Conchar, Gigi, Vince, just to name a few. Like, these are guys that, when you look at the roster, they're not untouchable. So they can definitely be moved. And I think if the Grizzlies do make a move, those are some of the names that should definitely be looked out for, that could be, moved around or shopped around. You never know. So definitely something that, I'm going to keep my eye on for sure. But just to let you know that these guys who the team may be fond of, end of the day, they're not untouchable. So they can be moved for anything that they seem fits better for the team. Because end of the day, with where the Grizzlies are right now, the emotional aspect of these players, yes, it's important, but at the same time, the Grizzlies need to be in win now mode, and it seems like they're trying to lean more towards it. That's why this year has been deemed a retool year, but the year is unpredictable and a lot can happen. So, speaking of next year, before we get out of here, just wanted to touch on a player that I think will more so surprise people, but also for the better reasons. One of those players being Jaren Jackson Jr. And we touched on Jaren and what he needs to improve on and what needs to go better for him if he wants to be be that All NBA player that we saw in the first half of the season last year. I think one of the things that will catch a lot of people off guard with Jaren is the freedom that he's going to have on the court. Without a solid third scorer, they're going to lean more towards Jaren Jackson Jr. to make plays and really score the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if Jaren had another year where he averaged 20 plus points. Because they're gonna. I think Islo has a system that, of course, you're playing through John Morant, but I think at the end of the day, when you settle down the offense, they're gonna play through Jaren. Like the balls, I don't think there's gonna be many possessions where Jaren doesn't touch the ball, and I think we're gonna see an uptick in the amount of minutes that these two people play. I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. I think he's going to play at least 30, 35 minutes a game, and that's of course without the idea of being in foul trouble, which is something that Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to have to really understand. I think if Jaren Jackson Jr. does not get over this foul trouble problem, he's essentially somebody that the Grizzlies will need to move on from. Honestly, I mean, I love Jaren, love his game, love some things that I think he could improve about his game, but if you're gonna be the top two scorer on this team, you have to be available at all times. So I don't know if that means a reduced defensive role for him or what, but he has to really improve on that, because this is going to be a big year for him, and it's going to be a big proving point for him this year, especially without Desmond Bane. So if he can't get past that foul trouble problem, we're looking at a guy who's playing 20, 25 minutes a game, then he's essentially unplayable, and he's not somebody that's worth relying on. But I want to be proven wrong. I think Jaren can absolutely be that guy for the Grizzlies. He just has to get over this one thing that has hindered him his entire career. There are too many instances where Jaren has been unplayable, and we're looking at it as like, why? Why is it still the case? And he's about to be nearly in year 10. So we have to really look at these things. I know people have been talking about him, but now this is a big year for Jaren, and I think he could have the potential to have another career year. It's just a matter of, can he get over the problems that have hindered him his entire career? And if he can, I think we're looking at a very good player that could be an all-star and all-NBA player once again. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Jaren Jackson Jr. and seeing how he grows and continues his development, because he's nearing year 8. Definitely gotta stay on top of it. So definitely looking forward to seeing what Jaren Jackson can bring to the team, and I'll be very excited to see it once he makes noise around the league as a guy that has very, very much improved his game and improved himself to be a top player. But as far as that goes, we just have to wait and see. That is another wrap on this edition of Grizzlies Daily. If you like the video, make sure to like it, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so that way you get notified anytime we upload on the channel. And as for this edition, my name is Melek, and I'll see you all in the next one.